Welcome to this session where we introduce a new way of interacting with your data with Microsoft Copilot through chat. And we'll talk a little bit about how this will be transformative for your business processes. I'm Sam van Lieshout. I'm a software engineer at Microsoft, and I'm joined here with my colleague, Mike. Hi, Mike.
Thanks, Sam. My name is Mike Borch-Cardona, and I'm a product manager at Microsoft.
So we're excited to announce the ability to chat with Microsoft Copilot within Dynamics 365 Business Central. We'll enter public preview in 2024 release wave 1. So Copilot is the AI-powered assistant that empowers people to express themselves in their own words, to find records, as well as enabling people to easily get answers to questions on how, when, or why to do things within Business Central. So why have we gone ahead and integrated chat with Business Central? We know that sometimes business apps can be quite hard to learn, and chat opens up a whole new way to interact with your data, making the business apps a lot more approachable and accessible to people. Along with that, Business Central has a growing set of diverse customers, and chat is an opportunity for Copilot to assist with the kind of tasks that are common across users in every industry, every role, every region. And it's really great that we can help here and allow our partner community to then focus on the industry specifics. And finally, as Copilot is getting better over time, we've no doubt that it will help workers achieve more and eliminate these tedious tasks and allow people to focus on what really matters, which at the end of the day is running their business. So for today's talk, let's jump straight into what Copilot can do for you. We'll start with a Copilot demo where we'll cover what chat is good for and show you some tips on how to get the most out of it. Then we'll talk a little bit about the preview. What does it actually mean? How does Copilot answer questions? And how can you administrate this new capability? And finally, we'll wrap up by sharing all the details you need to go and try it out yourself. And you can go and play with chat. So let's kick off the demo. Over to you, Mike.
Shall we do that, Sam? Let's dive in. Let's take a look at what this looks like. Here I am in Business Central, and I can chat with Copilot at any time, no matter where I am inside the application. And to start chat, I will find the Copilot icon in the app bar up top. And the chat pane slides in, and I have this welcoming message from Copilot. And you can see how this is seamlessly integrated into the Business Central experience on the web client. And it sits alongside my data, so it helps me. It's always there alongside my work. Here, the welcoming message also explains the kind of tasks that Copilot can help with. It can help find records from the database. It can help explain concepts and help me understand things in Business Central, but also guide me on how to complete those tasks, how to complete those business processes. Now, these are 3 nice examples here to get me started, but I've actually got so many more here in what we call the prompt guide. Here are different examples which really just give me a sense of, inspire me maybe to how I could communicate and chat with Copilot. Different ways of writing my questions, my prompts, covering these different abilities that it has. Here I have, for example, let's pick this one. Is there a keyboard shortcut? And you can see how it's actually like a template where I get to fill in the blanks. So let's see, what am I interested in? Is there a keyboard shortcut for accessing all actions on my page? And now I've sent that first chat message to Copilot. Copilot is digging up information from our Business Central online documentation as well, and will bring me an answer promptly that I can use. So here you can see how Copilot has given me an answer to my question, and it suggests to use the Alt key to display key tips, which are the letters on the screen that appear right now. And I can proceed with working with my action bar. I'll use the letter G, I'll use the letter D. Wow, so I've just learned a new skill thanks to Copilot here. It's helped me figure that out. Now, there's of course a lot more you can do with chatting with Copilot here. So think about all the different times during your workday where you get this interruption. Somebody comes along and asks you a question that's got nothing to do with the task you're currently working on, like setting up my general ledger. Think about how distracting that is, and Copilot is here to help. So do we have any chair in stock under $300? So that's my question. It's very unrelated to the task I'm doing right now in Business Central. But while Copilot finds the answer, I can continue working. I can continue setting up my general ledger in this case, which happened to be my task. I can fully interact with the Business Central client and all the different pages. I can continue working while Copilot does the hard work for me. And you can see Copilot has now come back with an answer. It's returned 3 records, and in fact, these are presented in the kind of way that you're already familiar with as tiles, where we have a thumbnail image of that record, we have some of the important fields, and you know this from the web client, you've seen it on your mobile app, you've seen it as you share records in Teams as well. And these are, of course, interactive as well. So I can click on any one of these, such as the London chair here, and now to help my coworker who had this question, I can simply share that to Teams. So this information that Copilot retrieves is also interactive. Now, you'll find that as you have conversations with Copilot in that chat pane, over time the conversation can get quite long. You might also want to sort of help Copilot by indicating that you're starting a new topic of conversation. So for here, I can clear the chat pane and start afresh all over again. Well, okay, let's now try a completely different question to Copilot. I'm going to ask for, show me the latest invoices for Alpine. Now, those of you who are familiar with Business Central's demo data will know that Alpine is in fact a customer, Alpine Ski House. But here, notice how I formulated the question in a very loose manner. I didn't specify the full customer name. I didn't even specify if this was meant to be purchase or sales invoices. So even though we can formulate questions to Copilot in this loose way, Copilot still figures it out. And here it's come back, in fact, with 3 invoices from the posted sales invoice list for Alpine Ski House. And again, this is presented in the same way as tiles that you can interact with, but you can also check, again, what filters did Copilot apply to actually come to that conclusion. I'm in the posted sales invoices list. I can see the filter it's applied here. I can see the sorting on due date that's been applied. That's how it got to the answer. This helps me verify that it has used the right, correct logic to get to an answer. But because this is a conversation, I can also ask follow-up questions to Copilot. For example, which of these are unpaid? Now here I'm clearly referring to the invoices that it's already found in this list. So when I'm asking about it being unpaid, about it being still open, it is referring to the latest invoices that were found there. It's a reference back to that. But because Copilot understands the history of my conversation, it's able to help me with getting to an answer. So again, Copilot can help me go back and forth in conversation here, help me narrow down to find precisely the data, the records that I'm looking for. Over to you, Sam.
Thanks, Mike. So as Mike just showed us, Copilot effectively has 2 capabilities. One is to quickly find relevant records, and the other is to look up business processes and clarify and that kind of thing. So I'll talk a little bit about each in some more detail. So yeah, Copilot is great at quickly finding relevant records, and in particular these kind of one-time queries where it's not really worth having a page view saved for your kind of answer. So for example, here you can see I'm looking up to show me the sales orders for a datum by the amount, and exactly I get these 3 records shown here, and then I can navigate to the full page with the filters applied and then look at all the relevant sales orders. So to get the most out of it, it really helps to understand what Copilot is actually doing to find these records. And essentially it looks up the relevant page for your ask and then tries to construct a filter on this page to answer the question, and then looking at the records from that resulting set. So keeping this in mind, when you're formulating your questions for Copilot, specifying the type of page that you want to look at helps. What kind of data you want to find at the page, and kind of any kind of sorting that you are interested in are all good pieces of information to provide. And then Copilot will always respond with a link to the page or an explanation of what kind of filtering was done to explain the results in the answer. And just another thing to keep in mind is that while Copilot is in preview, it's not aware of the context of your current page. So if you're talking about information you see on the current page, it's good to include this information in your chat message as well. Secondly, again, as Mike showed, this is a conversation, so you can always go ahead and ask clarifying questions. So, for example, here, I asked, what is the highest amount? And sure, I could have opened up the sales orders page myself and changed the sorting, but I could have also just stayed in the chat pane and asked the question, got the result, and here I get a citation as well, which will take me straight to the record. Then for the next capability, Copilot can search the official Business Central documentation to answer product-related questions. It's worth noting that it will go directly to the documentation and it doesn't perform like a general web search through Bing. So you can be sure that the results that it gets back is always coming from the documentation. So in this case, again, you can see I'm asking about some particular terminology. And what we have found here is a documentation link that talks about the actual process. And within that documentation page, it talks about the inverse of my question. And so from that, we can get an answer, which is good. And then the user can now go to the documentation page to read more, or rather than reading all the documentation, you can go and ask a follow-up question. So for example, how can I do that? And then the chat will respond with some steps if they are provided within the documentation. So this is a really nice complement to any kind of onboarding or training process that you may have in place, and really helps with learning how to use Business Central. So to reiterate, kind of the results you get back all come from the Business Central documentation. They're all grounded on content in there. So for example, you might ask a question which isn't actually covered in the documentation. And in this case, rather than trying to fabricate some answer, it will say there's no information in the documentation on how to do this, but here are some relevant pages in the documentation you can go and read up on to hopefully learn more about the process you're asking. So yeah, I hope this helps everyone writing more effective questions for Copilot. And I'll hand back to Mike, who can maybe tell us a bit about the availability of the preview.
Thanks, Sam. So because this is in preview, there's a few key points we really want you to understand. First of all, Copilot in Business Central in general is available exclusively for Business Central Online, which means you won't find it on Business Central deployed to on-premises or private cloud. And this has been released for 2024 release wave 1. That means you'll find it with major update 24.0 or later. Rollout starts with our US customers, and then throughout the release wave, over a number of weeks and months, we'll make that available to other regions as well, with the exception of Canada, where chat will not be available to Canadian customers due to compliance reasons. Finally, chat is available in English only while in preview. And one of the common questions we also get about Copilot, which applies very much to chat as well, is, well, how much does this cost? Is there a minimum number of seats required to use this? The answer is very simple. At this stage, chat, and in fact, Copilot in Business Central in general, is available with Business Central licenses at no additional cost. Here's a few more points that are really good for you to understand so that you can plan your approach. So first of all, extensibility. You cannot extend, modify, override, or add new capabilities to chat. We certainly aspire to unlock this in the future, but for now in preview, this is not possible. So keep that in mind when you listen to some of our other sessions where we talk about the developer tools for Copilot and Business Central. Those let you do other things with generative AI. Chat itself is not extensible. Secondly, and this is where all hope is not lost, basically chat can find records in your custom objects, your tables and your list pages. So if you, for example, have added the vehicles list page where you've got a whole bunch of records, you'll still be able to get to that information as well using Copilot. So whether that's a customization, whether that's an add-on solution, it just works. There's no additional effort needed from our partner community for their objects to also work with chat. And because answers come from Microsoft's online documentation hosted on Microsoft Learn, this also means that if you ask questions about custom fields, custom processes in Business Central, anything very specific that you do in your company that may be captured in other knowledge sources, Copilot at this stage will not be able to answer those kind of questions. It does draw from end-user documentation from Microsoft, the administrator documentation, the developer docs as well, but it also won't generate any code or display any AL code in the chat pane. The last thing that's also good to know, and it's a subtle point, is that if you've asked Copilot to find some data, it can only find data based on the filters and the fields that are available. So if you ask for something that goes beyond that, of course you will not be able to return any results. All right, well, let's talk about trust next.
Yeah,
Sam.
Thanks, Frank. So we designed this feature from the ground up with Microsoft's values and responsible AI standards. And what this really is that your data is your data, end of story. Your data is not used to train the foundation AI models, and your data is protected by the most comprehensive enterprise compliance and security controls. So what does that really mean? It means that, for example, the queries you type in Copilot chat will respect the user's permission sets that have been assigned. They're not going to be able to ask questions for things that the users don't have access to. And finally, Copilot is built on Microsoft's responsible AI standards of fairness, reliability, safety, inclusiveness, transparency, and accountability. So, these aren't just words. We really take the time to go through each feature and design for harnessing AI safety from the ground up, and we apply what we call the responsible AI practices. We know that the AI is sometimes incorrect, so we've taken extra measures to ensure that the answers Copilot provides are answered to a high degree of accuracy. For example, it will always provide a clear explanation of how the answer was found. It will provide links and citations to its sources. And finally, we apply what we call grounding checks to avoid fabrications from the model before presenting the answer in chat. Now, if you're a partner who's eager to demo this to your customers or simply get hands-on and try it yourself, here's a few tips just for you. So first of all, we always recommend for demos that you use CDX, Customer Digital Experiences. Just go to aka.ms/CDX, sign in with your partner identity. As a partner, you already have access to this. Once you're in there, you can quickly spin up a new tenant. Basically, you get an admin and a whole set of test user credentials. And we suggest you always create a new browser profile. You sign up for Business Central in there using that admin account. And then you've got access to Business Central. Since chat is being rolled out gradually to different geographies, it's probably easiest in the beginning to provision a US environment, and that will give you chat. And there's really no further configuration you need to go through. You are ready to start using Copilot in that situation. But if you're in there and you can't find Copilot, here's just a couple of small tips for you. Things that you can check. So first, go and check the Copilot and AI capabilities page. This is a single and simple space that we've created for admins that gives transparency into these are the generative AI features available in this particular environment. If you don't see chat in there, it hasn't been made available yet to your particular environment. Here, make sure that chat is active, and on some environments, you will also see a switch that you can turn on to give consent to Business Central contacting Azure OpenAI Service that may be in a different region. And what this means is that for some of our regions, depending on where you're located, depending on that environment, data may need to be sent to Azure OpenAI Service that is outside of your geographic boundary.
boundary, and that is something admins need to consent to use this. There's a few other things you can do. Make sure that your language is set to English in My Settings. Make sure you've been updated to version 24. And essentially, those are all the things that you need to do to check if you don't see Copilot over there. If you don't have Chat with Copilot just yet, you may just need to wait a little bit longer until we roll it out to that region. Okay, so just the last quick demo of the day. So Business Central is, of course, a very extremely rich and advanced business application. There's many things to learn, to master, including how to use each specific field. Now, Copilot is your AI assistant to help you through that process as well, to explain fields in Business Central. So I'd like to next show you this demo where we get help from Copilot. So let's imagine I'm still performing this task of reconfiguring my general ledgers. And there's a couple of fields here I'm not quite sure what they represent. There's allow posting from, there's deferral posting. We've made it really easy with a single click to be able to get more information from Copilot when the tooltip just doesn't have enough. Now, typically, if I couldn't ask Copilot right here, what I do is I'd go and search Microsoft's documentation myself, do a number of queries there to search terms to figure out what I'm looking for. But here, I simply ask Copilot, what is the allow posting from field? What is that all about? As you can see, by that one click, it's added a chat message in there to Copilot, and Copilot goes off and figures out the answer. And again, I can have follow-up questions to this as well. So how is this different to deferral posting? So as I work in Business Central, I've got Copilot as my assistant by my side, helping me understand these concepts, and we've made it super easy with a single click just to be able to get to that. And this is because Business Central in general has tooltips on fields, has documentation which documents and explains, business processes and pages, but there isn't specific, field level help documentation. It's sort of spread out across different places. So here Copilot helps bring it all into one space where I don't even need to leave the application. I can easily get to that information and work in Business Central.
That's really cool, Mike. I think it's such a seamless way of learning more about Business Central. And I really like that you can just go and ask follow-up questions in a conversational format once the chat pane is open. So now you should know how to get and try out Copilot for yourself. And we'd love to get your feedback and help us improve by liking or disliking the responses that you see in the chat pane. And this can be done with the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Your feedback's very important to us because it helps give a signal on areas where we can improve. And I'll reiterate, that, like we said earlier, that we will not use the data for training the foundation models. So back to you, Mike.
Thanks, Sam. Well, I think we can wrap things up now. So there's so much more Copilot in 2024 Release Wave 1. Check out these recommended sessions where we cover how Copilot helps people use their own words to fill out sales lines quickly and effectively, or to create analytical views of their data and get to insights a lot faster, but also how Copilot helps reduce the tedious tasks such as matching electronic documents with your purchase orders. Now, if you're looking for more resources about Copilot and about chat specifically, first start, if you haven't seen it, we definitely recommend a 2-minute video that you can show your customers as well about chat and roughly how it works. If you need more detailed information, we encourage partners to engage with us on Viva Engage, for example, have a discussion with the product team, share your feedback and ideas there as well, or dig into our documentation for even more answers and examples of how you can work with chat. Of course, if you want to extend Copilot, as I said earlier, you cannot extend chat today, but you can also build other generative AI experiences in Business Central. Check out our toolkit for that one. And finally, if you're new to Business Central, there's plenty more resources for you, everything from connecting to the engineering team to contributing your ideas, your code, or simply learning new skills. So we'll end here with a big thank you thank you, not just for listening in, but also for trying out Chat with Copilot and sharing your feedback. Your feedback is tremendously important for us to improve Copilot over time. We think the potential with AI is tremendous in transforming how our customers do business and interact with business applications. But it's all about channeling that power towards how you, our partners and our customers, apply that AI, put it to work every single day to help you be more productive. So we're looking forward to your feedback, your reactions, your ideas as well. Send them our way. We're eager to engage. And on behalf of the team, thanks a lot, and thanks for joining us.